You know that moment when you watch a motivational video here on YouTube, you feel like you are about to take over the world, your energy level is over the roof, and you can imagine how you're achieving all of your goals, so you decide to put out the work. But 20 minutes later, you get distracted and the same feeling of laziness and mediocrity comes back. That's why relying on getting motivated isn't a good idea. You have to set up your life in such a way that you might not get overexcited, but at least you will have the will to put out the work most of the time. And Jordan Peterson's book does precisely that. He has outlined 12 rules that will help you to keep your life in order. But we're only going to explore 7 of them that I believe will truly keep you motivated and disciplined. My favorite one is make friends with people who want the best for you. Remember when you were a little kid, every other kid in the neighborhood was your friend. You would play with each other every single day. You didn't have to call each other, just go out and play with them. And if you can't make it, you don't have to explain yourself to anyone. It's the best kind of friendship you could possibly have. But when you hit your 20s, you will be in touch with 5 or 6 at best of them. You don't play around every day, but you hang out every other week maybe. However, when you start getting closer to your 30s, you would wish to spend more time with friends. But with so many responsibilities and bills you have to pay, you don't always get the chance to see 1 or 2 of your best friends that you still talk time to time. From one side, it seems like you are consciously choosing your friends, but in many ways you do not. You were friends because you guys went to the same school or studied in the same class. Maybe it was your first day in college and he was the first person you talked to. Or you are friends because you're simply neighbors. So you start talking to each other and over time it develops into a friendship. The problem is they might not be the best people to be around, but they were the first you met. And as you grow older, it gets challenging to make new friends. So you just stick around with them because it's comfortable. Your friends are going to have a massive influence in your life. So if they genuinely do not want the best for you, envy and jealousy will be dragging you back. Remember, don't let time define your friendship. If someone brings negativity into your life, don't be afraid to move on and make new friends. The world is filled with beautiful people who could make your life brighter. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. The other day I was hanging out with friends and one of the guys started talking about how billionaires are ruining the world. They are destroying jobs, mistreating their employees, creating horrible jobs, and damaging the environment and causing climate change out of greed. I'm not going to try to defend anyone here because in some ways that's true. The world isn't sunshine and rainbows. But the question should be, what are you trying to achieve with your criticism? It might make you feel good about yourself. However, you're also part of the problem. Aren't you driving your car using all the services these giant corporations are offering and also causing climate change? Well, how about you take a different path? Instead of pointing fingers, take care of your house first. Of course, you can never be perfect, but you can try to change as many things as you can. Are you not happy with your paycheck? Well, are you working as hard as you should be in your career? Probably not. Have you taken full advantage of all the opportunities you were offered? I think I know the answer. Are you having health issues? Well, do you have habits that are destroying your health? A wise man once said, if each person would work hard on making himself a better person, then the world would automatically change for the better. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. We tend to compare ourselves with people who are better than us. You walk into the gym for the first time in your entire life and work out for 3 straight hours, doing bench press, dumbbell press, push-ups, squats, deadlift and everything else. But then another guy comes in and works out for half an hour and yet he's much more physically fit than you. It would be dumb to compare yourself to him. But we do that all the time. The question that you should be putting in front of yourself is, did I become physically better than yesterday? Am I a better person compared to yesterday? Did I do anything meaningful today that made me a slightly better person? If the answer is no, then you should feel bad about yourself. because you just wasted an entire day without making any progress or whatsoever. There is nothing wrong with being financially less successful than your friend or physically less attractive than your neighbor. You are a unique individual. Your circumstances are different. You are born to different parents in a different place with a different set of strengths. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. In school, there is at least one kid who will get bullied because there is always the predator who is looking for his victim. That kid doesn't randomly get bullied. You don't want to intimidate someone who will fight back. So when you're walking around with your shoulders down, you give an image of a good little boy who can't even stand for himself. Even when you grow up, the image you portray about yourself is going to have the most significant influence on how people are going to treat you. Just by standing straight with your shoulders back, you are sending a message that you will fight back if someone strikes. But it also means you understand and accept the terrible responsibility of life with eyes wide open. People will assume that you're competent and able, and that will also boost your confidence. Your conversations will flow better with fewer awkward pauses. This will make you more likely to meet new people, interact with them, and impress them. Doing so will not only genuinely increase the probability that good things will happen to you, but it will also make the good things feel better when they do happen. Pursue what's meaningful. When we choose what to do in life, we often give priority to what pays the bills. And I don't blame anyone for doing that, especially if you have responsibilities on your shoulders. You have a mortgage, you might have kids. So no matter what you do out there in the office, as long as your family is taken care, it doesn't matter. But what usually happens down the road is, especially in the long run, you're going to feel empty inside, which leads to depression. And I'm not even talking about doing what you love, because that's a luxury, and most people in life unfortunately never achieve that. And sometimes it's not also their fault. Circumstances might force you to take a different path. Sometimes people just don't know what they want, what inspires them, or what makes them happy. But at least if you do what you believe is meaningful, you will have a sense of feeling that your life matters, that you're not merely living, but instead making the world slightly better. Assume the person you're listening knows something you do not. You already know what you know, unless your life is perfect. What you know is not enough. Don't you get into trouble, conflicts? Aren't you time to time taking terrible decisions or just maybe failing? Are you happy with your financial situation or career? Are you depressed or maybe anxious? You know why? Because you're ignorant. I'm not saying you're dumb, but there are plenty of things you haven't figured out yet. And whoever you're talking to knows something that you do not. Because he lived a completely different life, experienced many different things that you haven't, met people you do not know. So instead of turning every conversation into an argument, always assume that the person you're listening to knows something you do not. Be precise in your speech. Imagine waking up in pain. You're sick and maybe even dying slowly. If you refuse to tell your doctor about your pain, then what you have is unspecified disease, and you have to rely on doctor's skills to figure it out. The chances of you recovering are significantly lower. But if you talk to your doctor, all those possibly terrible diseases will turn into just one terrible disease or just disappear into nothing. Most of our problems are a result of miscommunication. How many families were torn apart because one or both of them weren't precise about what they didn't like about their relationship? How many times you start a dialogue and then it turns into an argument about something completely different? So be careful with what you tell yourself and others. Choose your words carefully. By applying these 7 rules in your life, you will bring your life in order, and that will help you to stay focused and motivated to pursue your goals. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and most importantly found it helpful. And if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of these videos, then consider subscribing and clicking on that bell button besides it, so that the next video will appear right on your homepage and you won't miss the following video. Thanks for watching. and until next time.